Okay, who's got a question?
Peggy Oki just sent this to me, that there's actually, there's a meeting on Monday, and it was just announced in the Tri-City Herald, and it's funny, because right underneath it, it says 100,000 jobs depend on them. The congressional committee is coming to
Yeah, I can tell you about that.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, I'll repeat the question. You want to play this?
on Monday.
Okay, let me answer this question. She talked about on Monday, there's a congressional hearing in Pasco, sponsored by Congressman Newhouse, asked for it. We found out about it a few days ago. I sent in a ton of economic data to the Natural Resources Minority Committee. Hopefully they'll get it over the majority side. It's a public hearing, but the public can't comment, and so that's typical of a congressional hearing. But some of us are going to be there and try to, figure out who's saying what, and if we can somehow counter it, right on the spot, after the meeting with people and so forth, we'll try that. Okay, let's play this, and then we'll.
Hi, my name is Jeff Rash. My association with Green Mountains County Cat Canamu. My question is, if the decision is made to capture and rehabilitate, and it works, and I'm not saying I'm in favor, where do you draw the line saying we're not going to do any more if they see any other orchids that are in the same condition?
You said, where do we draw the line with?
Where do you draw the line if you see any other orchids that are in the same condition? Where do you draw the line to capture them and rehabilitate or not to capture them?
I think Ken should do that.
I'm drawing the line on the fact that this little whale is still with her family and is being fed by her family. If she were on a beach stranded someplace, yes, let's intervene, especially if her family is gone, and do what we can. But what I'm trying to do is prevent this from happening by having healthy food and a healthy population of whales. That's the main thing. There have been dozens of these little babies that have orphaned and died or whatever in the past, and nothing was done. At least this one's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a question regarding that.
Yeah.
So I talked, my name's Joel. I have a question regarding possible plans to capture J50 Scarlet. From what I've heard, they're waiting until, like you said, she's strands or she's separated for her family. And so I asked the question, what does a separation mean? Are we talking 100 yards? Are we talking 200 yards? Because that's not a separation. I guess just my personal opinion, I'm against that. Is there anything we can do, people that are against that, to stop that sort of thing from happening? And would that put stress on the rest of JPOD if they were here, this whale fall, would they come back? And does that put other JPOD members at risk capturing J50? Sorry, I know I said a lot there.
About capturing little J50, if, what is the degree of separation? It was really astonishing that she was missing for 2 days with a great search for her, and then on the third day showed up with her mom. So she was reported way behind the pod when they came in the Strait of Juan de Fuca. They say my personal feeling is that she's got to be stranded or in a bay by herself, and the others are clearly not in the area. But I think that the sentiment is to jump at the chance that they can catch her, maybe even a mile from her family. I don't know what, but I do think that they don't have bad intentions. And if there is a reaction by the pod, I think they'll probably back off. That could be interesting to see, but I think it's premature to catch her with her family or even in the same vicinity.
I have another question to add on that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I also heard of possible plans if they did catch her to take her down to Manchester, would obviously be very far away from where J-Pod goes now in 2018. Do you know anything about that, or would they try to keep her off the west side of San Juan Island where she could be released?
Well, yeah, I had heard just rumor, I had heard nothing official because I objected at the beginning and been left out of the discussion. But I've heard that they may take her to Manchester if she's captured in the United States. That's the National Fisheries Facility. And to the Vancouver Aquarium if she's captured in Canada.
No.
Those are the options. Both NIMS and DFO are going forth with the program. Now, both of those things are not supposed to be permanent, but then who's going to call unreleasable at some point? It's bizarre.
Who's deciding who's the bank? You say they are doing this and that, who's the decision maker?
The decision, well, the conference call I was on was with National Fisheries people, veterinarians from Joe Gatos, the Sea Dog Society, the Vancouver Aquarium, the DFO, Department of Fisheries and Oceans people. And then the first hour of it was like, the recommendation was, no, don't do this. And then apparently after the conference call or at the very end of it, they decided to go ahead and do it.
They have somebody that's done it before.
Pardon?
They have somebody with them that's done it before with spring.
Oh, yeah, all these people are experienced in dealing with marine mammals. It's not like somebody's gonna go out and try a rodeo. They've done other rodeos.
I just want to say something very briefly. I have so much respect for this guy. He's been with them since 1975. This guy would, yeah. I just want to say
Well,
thank you,
thank you.
Ken.
Thank you.
Ken. Thank you, Ken.
'80s, I guess.
No, like I've loved you since I was like 12. Like
Oh,
this
wow.
guy, he's as good as they get.
Well, let's see, yes, sir, you're quick.
Yeah, I guess, I really agree with what Jim said about it's up to us. I think I tried to put together all the information that I've learned before, but also what we showed tonight, the extremity of the situation, how urgent it is. It's an emergency situation. We don't have a lot of time, right, to make this happen. And then we're up against these powerful forces that aren't really moving to do anything. They're just talking and talking. And I mean, I would really like to hear from you guys, but from everybody, like what can we do right now? Because I feel like we've got to do something to force a change in this situation. Just, you know, going out and petitioning, that's okay, but I feel like we need to force a change. And I feel like we need to develop a strategy for doing that if we're really going to have a chance.
Right. I think these whales were telling us recently that we better get this act together pretty quick. But you know, between nonchalance and panic, we don't want to just panic because for me, I mean, we all love whales, but the economic situation, doesn't everybody have some concern about that? Why is it being protected? Where's this? Follow the money somewhere. This money part should appeal to everybody. The whale part, you know, we can be vociferous.
Yeah, when you ask what we can do, the process is real simple when you're dealing, in this case, with the Corps of Engineers who can make a decision here, but they are not going to make a decision unless some politician pushes them. That's just the way the process works. But it's simple. We really have to get to Governor Inslee, whether it's an individual or a handful of people or whoever can get in on his calendar and talk to him and lay this stuff out. Ken and I have been trying to meet with him for 3 years and keep getting blown off. We just don't have the clout to get in there. Same with Senator Murray, same with Senator Campbell, same with our congressman. Finally met with my congressman after 3 years. But it took a briefing like this in Gig Harbor, and a bunch of guys stood up and women said, we've got it, we've heard enough, and we're not gonna let this Congressman Kilmer blow you off anymore. And so they got a meeting. So that's what it's gotta take, is political pressure on the Corps. Now, we've been working the Corps, and we've been working these guys with the information. They can't hide from the truth much longer. I mean, they really can't. So that's what it takes, though. Yeah, go ahead, Michelle.
I can just say as an individual, what I've been doing is I've started an overpass action. And I've started a group on Facebook, a page on Facebook. Miguel and I are out with activists over Highway 5. We've put in the minimum of
Thank you.
And now we've got somebody doing it in Tampa, we've got somebody doing it in New York, we've got Seattle, and I believe Tacoma now, and we're just asking everybody, every week we're out there, we're seeing, literally, we do it during commute for about 2 to 3 hours, hundreds and hundreds of cars are beeping, they're taking pictures, they're waiting, I'm hoping when they take pictures, it's up on social media, and it's spreading, and so, join our site, do one in your, in your neighborhood, over your freeway overpass, and ask other people to do it, because, that's how small things start and spread. I mean, if we could have them in cities all over this country, and on it refers to Dan Sense, and it says save our orcas, with a big drawing of an orca, and it says call Gov Inslee with the phone number, and it's got Dan Sense along the bottom, so, I mean, everybody can do something that's, like that, or however big, but, I mean, I agree, it's gotta come from us. It's not gonna come from anywhere else, so, and I've been trying to get my foot in the door through Sea Shepherd, so maybe they'll at some point.
That's what it takes. We need about 30 more Michelle's. One group I didn't mention that we can hit hard is your public utility commissioners. Because these are the guys that are sitting on their hands and letting BPA run wild with our rates. And so go to a commissioner meeting and throw down, read that paper we got up there about BPA's financial crisis and throw it in front of them and say, why aren't you doing something? Aaron, you had a question back there?
Yeah, it's kind of a wonky question. This was for Anthony Jones.
Yeah, I can't hear you. You need to come up, maybe you can come up, I need to figure this out. Tonight is, too much time on, you won't stop up.
Hi, this question is for Anthony Jones. It's kind of a wonky question. And I've worked for the Endangered Species Coalition, so I've known a lot of these details, but I'm curious, Anthony Jones, why you chose to select the last 96,000 hours for the Lower Snake River dams. What was the reasoning behind that number? And what are your thoughts on the Northwest Energy Coalition study?
Question, I understand it. Why did I select the last 96,000 hours to illustrate the lack of need for the Lower Snake dams? And the reason I selected 96,000 was because I performed that analysis early in the spring. That number is now over 101,000. The point is try to picture this. Two equal-sized amounts of power. The Bonneville Power Administration generates one section of power for its core customers and an equal amount for export. They export 53% of the power they produce on an annual basis. Think of this. They only use half their power for their core customers. Now that was cool prior to 2008, because prior to 2008, the wholesale market was paying $50, $60, $70 a megawatt for the power. That allowed Bonneville to pay down the rates that they charged Northwest customers, pay them down to the 20s. But something changed in 2009. In 2009, all the investments in California for solar power started to gain traction, and the surplus market, instead of being in the 70s, dropped to the 20s. Okay? Bonneville Power is still making all that extra power, but instead of getting profits from that extra power, they are now raising the rates on the core customers to pay to send the power to California. Okay? So now they're raising the rates. Currently, the priority rate for Bonneville Power customers is about 36. There's a rate case in progress, and they're going to be raising the rates to 38, probably 40. The chart that Jim showed earlier showed the rates going to 40. The reason they're going to charge core customers 40 is so they can sell that 53% of their total power off system for 20 or 25. Okay? The Northwest, via BPA and the Corps of Engineers, is subsidizing California at this point. And getting back to the 96,000 hours question, it's been over 101,000 hours since you can even demonstrably show that any power from the Lower Snake Dams even went to the Northwest customer. Not needed, simply used. Because at that moment, at 2 o'clock in the morning in February of 2009, all of the thermal plants were shut down. BPA had extra resources. They could have bought. So the point being, the Lower Snake Dams are totally surplus, they're totally needed, and in their absence, nobody will shiver in the dark. Nobody will sweat in the heat.
Aaron also asked about a study by the Northwest Energy Coalition on replacement power. They spent a lot of money in saying that the replacement, the Lower Snake Dams could be replaced, but it would cost $200 to $300 million a year. That's really crazy. They used Bonneville Power's pricing for wind from 10 years ago to come up with those numbers, and Tony and Munchen jumped on and said, why are you using 10-year-old BPA data to justify this? And it was just crazy. That report is worthless because if there's nothing else you just learned from tonight, it's surplus power. We don't need to replace that power. It's already out there in abundance. Next question. Yes.
Besides the waste, fraud, and abuse generated by dams to generate electricity, I mean, that's reason enough not to have dams, but is this, I felt like Talequa was saying when she was, carrying her dead baby around, we want green energy, but that's just me. I wondered if this is a good time to push this issue when they, and I know that a lot of people want to get rid of all the dams and that they're illegal anyway, but also, is this a good time for a transition?
The question is this a good time for this transition? And there are three things in play here at this moment. One, Bonneville Power is arguably going bankrupt because the cost of their power is well in excess of what people are willing to pay for. Bonneville Power is losing about $100 million a year, $1 million every 3 days, okay? Now, like them or hate them, Bonneville Power is going to be around, so we probably would like them to at least be financially stable. They're going to be around for their transmission system and a bunch of other things. We would like Bonneville Power to be stable, but we would like them to also be responsible. Okay. The other thing is the Orca are starving. They need fish. They need something to eat. So that needs to be done too. And where to get the fish fastest. Arguably, breaching the Lower Snake Dams is the fastest way to do that. So how to kill 3 birds with 1 stone is breach the Lower Snake Dams. It would make water power more stable. It would make the orcas more likely to survive because it would make the fish more abundant. That's why this would be an excellent time to breach the Lower Snake Dams. There is no better time. There hasn't been a better time in 20 years, and there is not going to be a better time in the future.
One other thing I may have noted in your question is the green energy power thing, and what very few people know is that these reservoirs emit methane. If you know anything about methane, I was a climate guy, remember? It's 85 times more potent than carbon, and so even though it's a small amount of methane, it's 47,000 ton carbon equivalent methane emissions off the 4 Lower Snake Dams. So they're carbon free, but they are not global warming gas free, okay? Maybe a couple more, and we'll kind of huddle around them. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Johnny Fishmonger. I'm from Wild Salmon Nation. I'm a commercial fisherman up in Alaska. And I used to fish down here. I grew up in Ballard and all, but like so many of us, including the orcas, we're all refugees from a former intact and, productive, wild salmon system. But so I had a couple questions. One thing, all the folks on the Free the Snake flotilla that are launching down the river tomorrow, everybody should follow that. They're taking off from Lewiston, and they got a big party tonight, and I've been trying to put stuff up on Facebook and Instagram and all that, urge them on and tell them we're all over here. And, one of the biggest things everybody can do is just keep posting all the time on Facebook and Instagram, just keep posting. But anyways, one of my huge questions, you guys that really know the whales, looking at the attempts to feed them, dark salmon, to feed J50. And a long time ago, one of the whale experts, I can't remember, somebody who was involved with you guys or San Juan folks, this must have been 34 years ago, told me that the resident orcas are so developed from a culinary standpoint so much that they like the big springers, Chinook the most, but that they can tell the difference through smell and acoustics between the hatchery fish and the wild fish. The bounce back, the echo, they're getting back over the fat content or the smell from the oil content and stuff like that. So I wanted to get any confirmation about that. Throwing hatchery fish in front of them, or pumping out, the big answer that Inslee and everybody says, and just tons of people, is we got to shoot all the sea lions and crank out the hatchery fish, and that's how we're going to save the orcas. But are the orcas, do they eat that much hatchery fish? Are they even interested? Is it a solution that will work? Do they
definitely eat hatchery fish.
It's junk
But
food.
You can't raise hatchery fish fast enough to feed them.
Really?
Howard?
You want to add anything to that? I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I don't see Ken.
He'd have a much more eloquent answer probably, but they will eat hatchery fish. I'm sure they prefer the big springers and they can discriminate, but it's not by smell. I don't claim to understand it, but they don't have any sense of smell.
Mm-hmm.
weird, but they don't. But their echolocation is so good that they can get every subtle little clue to know exactly what kind of fish. They can discriminate, Chinook from every other species, but they also eat other species. They do eat chum and coho, and they'll even go for, the occasional halibut and flounder, the steelhead. So, they will eat a side dish, but, they depend on those big fat Chinook. So, yeah, hatchery fish, they need them right now because that's all there is, just about. So, it's just a matter, but they're not sustainable. They're industrial mass production, so, and they don't survive. They don't have the survival capability like the wild fish do. Wild fish will sustain themselves. They're free if they've got habitat. So they're what the orcas really depend on and will depend on, and the only thing that is stable for them would be abundant wild runs from many rivers, but the snake is by far the biggest.
Thank you.
Issue of noisiness in the Salish Sea. Noise.
Oh, the noise?
Yeah, and what solutions are needed in terms of addressing that threat, and whether the whale watching industry has anything to do with it, and whether we should not go on whale watching trips anymore.
Well, that is clearly a very complicated and controversial issue that's been around for a long time.